Hello and welcome to Ta-da, It's Done. I'm Evie Burke. I am the founder and productivity strategist at One Insight Closer, where I help women business owners put the plans and priorities behind their ideas and their goals so they can make the profit that they want in their business. And today we are going over part 4 in the Why Things Don't Get Done series. And we are talking about constantly reworking. And constantly reworking can come in several different forms, and today we're going to talk about the main two, which is productive procrastination and perfectionism. So first, let's talk about productive procrastination, which is when you avoid the important things that need to be done, but you get a lot of other tasks, checked off your to-do list, and it feels really productive because you got a lot of stuff done, but it wasn't the things that are actually going to move your business forward in the time frame that you're hoping, right? So in the context of constantly reworking, this might feel like you are doing the most important task. But the problem is when you take a step back and you kind of do a review, you realize that this project isn't actually the most important thing that you need to be working on right now. It's productively procrastinating you from those things that actually need to get done. An example I have of this is from several years ago in my business. I put a lot of time and effort into tweaking and reworking my website. And there were some other things I was doing in there too. And later when I took a step back, I realized I was doing this to avoid learning the things and doing the things that would have really made a difference in my business at that time. So for you, when you're looking out for productive procrastination in the framework of this constantly reworking, ask yourself, are you constantly reworking something as a way to procrastinate or put off something else? And if you are, make those adjustments so you're not doing that, right? And I know it's a lot easier said than done. Now, the second form here for constantly reworking that we're going to talk about is perfectionism. And this is where you tweak and adjust and edit something until it is perfect. And then you declare it done and you release it to the world or move on to the next thing. But it takes a lot of time to get it to that point, right? Because it has to be perfect. And the example I have here is from something I heard somebody say on a podcast many years ago, and I no longer remember what the podcast was or who it was that said it, but he talked about he and his team were doing a review of the projects and some of the things that they had released to the world, and they realized that they spent 80% of their time completing the last 20% of a project. And then on top of that, they would spend a lot of time reworking things after they had started marketing them. So what would happen is they would complete the project, it would be perfect, everything would be, great, they'd get all the marketing created, and then they'd start marketing it, and then they'd get feedback, and they'd spend a lot of time tweaking things and adjusting things based on the feedback and the questions that they were getting. So what they decided to do was start promoting and marketing things when the project was 80% done. And what this did for them is it allowed them to adjust their marketing and the final program or service or whatever it was that they were selling. But it allowed them to make those adjustments based on the feedback, the questions, and the interest or the lack of interest instead. So it allowed them to make those adjustments based on, the feedback, questions, and interest. And it ended up saving them a lot of time because they realized that a lot of times they would be going down path A because they thought that was what was going to make it perfect. And then based on the feedback and the questions, they'd realize, oh, you know what? We think A is really great, but what people want is path B. And so they could adjust it and make the product that people wanted and make the service that people wanted instead of what they thought they wanted. So they spent much less time actually completing the project, and they spent less time in completion mode. It really adjusted the way that they approached their business and made their customers a lot happier. So notice when you're constantly reworking something. Take that step back and review. Is it something that actually needs to get done, or is it something that maybe is done enough as it is? And we're at the end of the first quarter, so this is the perfect time to take that step back and do that review and make your adjustments for the second quarter. And if you need any help with this, if you have any questions or you just want to chat around this topic, reach out. I'm happy to chat with you. And next week, we're going to be talking about overcomplicating things as the next part of the Why Things Don't Get Done series. So until then, much love. Bye.